Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Juan Ituarte and welcome to this presentation about behavioral benchmarks, how good looks like in a cultural transformation in an organization. I am Juan Ituarte. I'm the director of ADVITRIA. We are a consulting and training company based in Mexico. We work with leading companies in the automotive, medical devices, electronics, mining sectors all across Latin America. And we had the chance in the past to work with former Shingo recipient companies in these sectors in Mexico and Costa Rica. I am also a Shingo Price Examiner. I have been for the past 15 years. And it's an honor for me to have this space to share with you some of the key learnings I've had in these years around transformations. And specifically, we're going to talk about how can we identify what ideal behaviors are, and how can you use these ideal behaviors to identify first, where are you in your cultural transformation journey, and then where do you want to be in this journey? And with these two phases, you can have a good action plan to go from one point to the other. That is, an action plan that is both realistic and also challenging for your company. I'll start first with a quick review around the Shingo model. If you are in this summit, I'm sure you are interested in the model. Some of you maybe are very aware of this model. Some of you maybe this is the first time you hear about it. So I'm going to make a very quick review. And I'm going to focus on a couple of things. First, in the Shingo model, the center of the model is culture. And culture is the sum of the behaviors of the people inside your company. And culture is in the center of the model because the culture of your company is the most valuable asset you have as a leader. I know most of the leaders say that people, their teams are the most valuable asset, but the truth is, the reality is that when I go to companies, that is not necessarily true in all the cases. And that is very simple because when you are a leader of a company and you are asked for specific results from the owner, from the corporation, you get a lot of pressure. You get stress, you have pressure, and you're pressured to get quick results. That is why if you're not achieving the results you expected, it is normal or it is expected to put quick improvements, quick fixes, Kaizen events, very aggressive implementation plan with consultants as your main strategy, and you leave people as a second or third priority in your organization. So in this presentation, I'm going to talk about one of the main mistakes that leaders do in this transformation. That is, when they feel pressure about results, what they tend to do is go directly to tools. I need quick fixes. So when they benchmark other companies to find quick fixes, usually what you see them doing is walking around, taking pictures around standards, about templates, about pokeyokis. So one of the most common mistakes that you see leaders do when they have pressure about the results is focus just on the tools. And what does that mean? Is they want to learn more about new tools, so they go to benchmark tours, to some other companies, to partner companies within the corporation, and they go there to try to copy their tools. They take pictures of the different boards, of different standards, of different processes they see. They go back to their company, try to implement them, and usually what they see is they don't get the results, they get frustrated, and they also don't get the cultural transformation they expected from these efforts. So in this talk, I'm going to focus on one very important thing. If we want to achieve ideal results, we have to focus on ideal behaviors. And maybe the most difficult part in this recommendation is, what is ideal? What is ideal behavior? If I have worked maybe 10 years, 20 years in the same company, how do I know what is ideal if I have never seen different behaviors from what I have lived in the past 20 years? Can I go do benchmark other companies? Yes. Can I watch videos on the internet, on YouTube? Can I take courses? Yes, you can. But if you want to model your transformation, and what we're going to talk about in this presentation is how can you use the Shingo model and its principles to identify those ideal behaviors and model your transformation journey. So what do you have to do to identify behaviors and design your transformation journey? Keep in mind you have to always start with the why, and the whys and the principles. Once that you have really understand the principles and understand why do you have to make this transformation, why is this important for your company, why are we doing this as leaders, then you move to the how. And the how is the systems that you need to select to make that transformation possible. And finally, you move to the tools. Which tools will be better for your systems to achieve the behaviors you want to model the principles that you're looking after in your transformation. So in the Shingo model, we have 10 guiding principles. I'm not going to go through all of them in this presentation. I'm just going to focus on one. I'm going to take, let's say, respect every individual from the cultural enablers I mentioned to illustrate how can we use a principle to identify behaviors and to select the right systems and the right tools for your transformation. I'm going to talk about 5 maturity levels or stages that we use as ADVITRIA to first assess companies that we work with and then help them build implementation plans to move forward from one stage to the other and to high maturity levels. These maturity levels are very important because, let's see, it's very common for leaders to come to a consultant and say, okay, I need you to take us to an autonomous level. I need to have autonomous teams. I need to have excellent results. I need to have this percentage of improvement. So I need to know how much it's going to cost me and how long it's going to take you to take us to that level. And those 2 questions don't necessarily have a straight answer, because first you need to understand where are you on that transformation and all the steps that you have to take to get to the level you want to be. But again, there's no magic recipe. There's not a recipe here to go from one stage to mastery in 1 year or 2 years. If a consultant, of a continuous improvement leader or a manager tells you that you can go from 0 to 100 in a year, maybe they're lying, or maybe they have not gone through this journey before. So in ADVITRIA, we use 5 stages to measure this transformation journey in a company. Okay, so the first stage of maturity we call awareness. At this stage, what you can see in an organization or in your company is that maybe teams, people are aware of the need of improvement, but are not necessarily very disciplined around their standards. They know they have tools, they know they have systems to improve, but they use them not very often, maybe just before a visit or before an audit, but at least they're aware of the importance of improvement. The second stage of improvement, we call stability. In this stage, what you will see in your company is that teams are not only aware of the importance of improvement, now they're working every day to improve. They know the systems they have and the tools they have to improve. They use them, not as often as you would like, not with the level of mastery that you would like, but at least they are using it. And also what you will see is that you have been able to build some discipline around the standards in your company. So you see companies with documented standards and with people that know and follow those standards. That would be the second stage of maturity. Once you have stability, we can move to the third level of maturity, which is improvement. In this stage, what you will see in your teams is that you see people that are learning new tools, understand their tools and their systems, and are using them constantly in the organization. They're participating in improvement events, they're submitting their ideas. The thing that you probably see here as an indication that you are in this stage is that they participate a lot, but they still need support from external experts like your engineers or like consultants. But at least you have a lot of participation. The fourth level of improvement of maturity, the fourth stage of maturity is called autonomy. In this stage, what you will see is that your teams really own their processes, they own their systems, they own their tools, they use them regularly, they improve them constantly, and that makes them be confident about the results, about their processes, and you see them challenging their goals. And finally, the fifth level of evolution or in these transformations is mastery. In mastery, what you will see is that your teams are the leaders not only in the organization, but also at a global level, at a regional level, and can go outside your company and teach other teams, teach other leaders about the tools, their systems, and the results that they have gotten with those systems. So the dream of every leader that I have met before is, I want to get to mastery. But to get there, you have to go step by step. And that takes time, that takes a lot of effort, and most importantly, that takes awareness of your leaders of what behaviors should you expect around your systems at each of the 5 different levels of transformation. So a quick review. If you want to use the Shingo principles and behavioral benchmarks to model your transformation journey, you can follow these 6 steps. Step number 1, identify the principle you want to use to model your transformation and make sure you understand it. Understand the why behind your transformation. Step number 2, identify the keywords in the definition of the principle, and now identify which supporting concepts or behavioral benchmark can help you identify ideal behaviors and select the systems you need to guide that transformation. Step number 3, identify your current behaviors and the ideal behavior depending on the stage of transformation that you want to achieve in your own company. Step number 4, identify the system that you're going to use to drive those behaviors and select the right tools depending on the evolution stage you are in or the changes you want to generate in your company to make sure that the tools suit what you have and where you want to be. Step number 5, track the evolution of the behaviors in your teams. Now that you have identified where you are and where do you want to be, you need to track every now and then, maybe monthly, maybe every quarter, how the behaviors of your teams are evolving around that tool, around that system, and improve your system and your tools accordingly with the evolutions you see in your teams. And finally, step number 6, keep in mind, this is a long run. This is not a game where you can get results in weeks, in months. You're going to have to keep improving, keep working for years. So what you have to keep in mind is, in this journey, usually the system stays the same, but the tools inside the system are going to evolve hand in hand with the behaviors that you want to promote in your teams. So keep improving your tools, be very disciplined around your systems, and make sure that you're modeling the right principles and you're going to be in the right track. Again, I'm Juan Carlos Ituarte. Here is my contact information. You can contact me in the different platforms in the internet. We have a podcast also that you can follow for all our Spanish-speaking audience. The podcast is called Ruta a la Excelencia. You can follow us on Spotify. We have over 100 episodes around operational excellence and strategy, and we get to over 30, 35 different countries around the globe. So I expect to see you in the podcast. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us and we'll keep chatting. Thank you.